Okay, now we should also be live on Instagram. So I'll pull out to the side in case we get comments there. Okay, I guess we are live.
Yep, you're good.
Sorry for being a few minutes late. I'm still learning this whole live streaming thing, and I hit the wrong button and we had to set it all up again. So, um, anyways, good morning, everybody. Hope you've had a great week. It's been an incredibly busy week for me in my world. Traveled a lot and actually did um, point of view type video where I basically filmed myself kind of behind the scenes all week. And, I've never really used a camera before or done anything like that. So it was definitely, um, a learning experience for me, but hopefully you'll like it, or you'll get to see some things that we haven't kind of shown before, just trying to take everybody behind the scenes on, my life and what it's like operating a, business that I do. So anyways, good morning, Sammy. It's going well. I'm a little bit tired, to be honest with you. It's been an extremely long week, as you'll see in the video that we drop a week from tomorrow. But it's been I'm energized by everything that we got going on and all the momentum we got going on. So it's been a great week. Hope all is well with you. But we're going to commit to doing these live streams every Friday at 11 a.m. And basically, I'll take questions on anything business related that you want to hear about, and I'll give you the best insight that I have on that. Like we're using the community board on YouTube specifically to actually take in questions, and that would be the best place during the week if you have questions that you want answered, for you to actually go through and to ask them. And the better the question, or the more interesting the question, the more likely that we're going to be able to get to it and answer it. But let me know what you would like to hear about, and also feel free to comment about what types of content you would like to see in our videos, because we really do our best to take into account the the feedback that we're getting. And my aim is to show you behind the scenes while I am out building this business, and hopefully share with you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way to make it so that maybe you can figure out a way to go out and build something on your own that fits you, and that gets you excited and energized every single day in the way that it does for me. And I think one of the themes that you're going to keep hearing me coming back to, that is just so important, and it is that you need to go out and find something in life that energizes you and that you're excited about, in the way that I am, waking up every day and working on my mission of building the world's leading indoor air quality company. What I get energized about, and that like no two people are the same. Like you're going to go out, you're going to be energized by something completely different, and whatever that is what you need to really lean into. So that would be my real recommendation for you. And Michael, my social guy, wants me to make sure that you hit the like button for weekly live streams, because obviously this is almost an hour a week that I'm devoting to, which is a lot of time for me. I've got a lot of things going on, but like I'm committed to kind of giving back to the community in the best way that I can. And I really am interested in seeing all your questions and answering them to the best of my ability. And hopefully over time we'll learn a thing or two together. So Michael, why don't we start answering questions? So you're going to have to please Michael to get the question that you want to answer, because he's the one that's highlighting them and sifting through them while I'm talking about it. So
we're going to start with some community board questions. Here's the first one.
Okay, we're starting with the community board question. Somebody that actually put in a question early, which I would highly recommend in the future if you want to have a higher probability of getting your question answered. Engaging on the community board during the week, well, would be the best because it gives us time to kind of filter through them. So, Bit of Business ask, navigating the doubts and pitfalls in the early stages, was there any doubt after leaving a high-paying career? No, there wasn't. And that sounds, kind of crazy maybe to say, like, but like I'm very much a fan of, having certainty when you're making big decisions, and like kind of not giving yourself an out. I call it burning the boats. And I actually talk about this a lot in the POV episode that's coming out in a week, because I've been thinking about it a lot this week. But like my whole reason, or one of the reasons for going so public for me on building the world's leading indoor air quality company, is that it's effectively me burning the boats, making sure that there's no other alternative. It's like, now that I'm so public and out here telling you all what I'm about to do, or what I intend to do, then I've got to wake up every day and work towards that mission. And so, like, really, when I was early on, I had the same confidence. Like, I knew I didn't really, when I quit my job, even know that I was going into the air filter business. Actually, it was something that kind of came a little bit later. But I knew that I was going to go out and build something that was meaningful, and something that was meaningful to me. And there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to go out and do that. And I don't think I would have been able to stay and have the persistence if I did have that kind of constant lingering doubt. Doesn't mean there weren't times where I was like, I kind of regretted my decision, or thought, wow, like maybe the grass would be greener somewhere else. We all go through that. So, I mean, that's just life. But I never really had any doubt that I was going to go out and do something big. The one suggestion that I would make that maybe would be helpful, or I don't know where you are in your career or your life, but I do think that early on in your career, it's good to go out and get experience. And if you don't have certainty around, whatever it is that you're pursuing, then it's okay to go out and kind of taste and try a few different things until you kind of create the certainty for what it is that you want to spend your life or devote your life to doing. And, that's not going to just happen overnight. It's something you kind of have to go out and have some life experiences. And so for me, having a job early on, was really helpful for me, because it helps me to kind of try a number of different things, kind of hone some skills, hone my confidence to be able to go out and ultimately build what I built, or what I'm focused on today. So that would be like more my actual tangible suggestion. Like, if you really have doubts, or you're kind of not sure what you want to do yet, then don't be afraid to go out and just get some experience, taste some things, and then let your confidence solidify to the point that then you can actually go out and do something with it. Raul Shahab, hope I said your name right. Hi, sir, new subscriber. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that people are interested in following me and what we're doing. And my commitment to you truly is to find a way to actually communicate actionable things that I've learned the hard way along the way, so maybe you don't make some of the same mistakes, and also to empower you and give you the permission to go out and build against your own dream and your own unique vision. And I don't want you to go out and copy somebody else's. It drives me crazy, like all these people that are selling these courses, or these, like, telling you to go into one specific niche of real estate, or one specific niche of self-storage is one of the things everybody talks about. They want to be self-storage, but it's like there's only so much need for self-storage. I'm sure people make big money in self-storage, but if you're just getting started out, then my guess is you don't want to go into something that everybody else on the internet is talking about. And so, a big reason for me doing this video and showing you like what I've done with air filters, a commodity product, and I'm ultimately going to build the world's leading indoor air quality company. I'm going to show you as I'm doing it. I want you to go out and find your version of that, which is unique to you, unique to your skills. And I'm going to give you the tools, or share with you the tools that I've learned along the way, and the lessons I've learned along the way, to help you on that journey. So that's the commitment that I give to you, my subscribers. So Bit of Business says, much appreciated. I'm doing my best, Bit of Business. So, okay. Escalada 7384. Can you please tell us about hiring? How exactly do you look for and attract A players in your team? That's a great question. And, I'll be honest with you, the, first decade of my, business, like this is not something that I excelled at. I would say it's something that I've really focused on in the last couple of years, and I've gotten a lot better at it. But, I went through years where this was certainly not a strong suit for me. And that means I ended up doing a lot more jobs probably than I should, and not all of them at the best level. But the tangible advice that I would give, that I've kind of learned the hard way and given myself, is like, there are kind of two types of hires that you're going to need to make over time. One, the easier one is somebody like more of a functional hire, that you have a specific task or specific need that you already understand, and you can train somebody to do. And so like they just have to fit the kind of skills that you need to do that task, and then to be trained on it, and for you to offload it to them. That's generally an easier hire. And in that, you just really want to make sure you get culture fit and reliability and all of that kind of stuff with it. But the more complicated hire, at least for me, is like if you want to go out and create a new system or create a new product or something that you don't have actually the skills to do yourself, but you want to find somebody else to do it. The mistake that I made historically is I would always hire aspirationally. I would find somebody that I thought was competent and energetic and had all these traits that I valued, and think, oh, I'm going to put them into this role and they're going to be successful. And I always, or oftentimes, failed with that. Whereas like when I went out and started hiring people that had done, exactly what I was looking to do before, or at least something very similar, then I started to have more success with it. And so, my advice in that world would be like, be very specific about what it is you're looking to accomplish. Like, what problem are you trying to solve with that hire, or what are your expectations of that hire? And then go out and find people that have solved those problems before. And then, and that combined with a cultural fit is really the winning strategy. And then, the best A players from that will start to take on more and more and more, and rise and be able to grow. And that's really been a huge unlock for me as I've started to expand the business. So that's kind of at a high level how I think about hiring. Ma11 Med. The algorithm recommended me to your channel early over here in the UK. Appreciate your story and resilience and rise. Would be interesting to get your take on the following. Despite the growing pressures of cheaper manufacturing abroad, where does the homegrown manufacturing opportunities, in your opinion, are still strong? US and maybe UK, Europe. This is a very complex question to answer, because like manufacturing is such a broad thing, right? Like, so you have like high-end, high-tech chip manufacturing, which is, way above my skill set and understanding. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that are better suited talking about it. And then you have kind of, cheaper products that, are more commoditized and whatnot, whereas trickier. When I'm looking at a product, like the reason I got into air filter specifically was because I knew that even if you could manufacture it cheaper overseas, say in China, which you probably could, and I actually saw somebody on a YouTube comment said, "Oh well, how do you know that you can't manufacture it cheaper overseas if you've never tried?" And the nuance isn't that I don't think you can manufacture it cheaper overseas. It's that I don't think you can manufacture it and deliver it cheaper to the end user from overseas. And it's because it's such a logistically challenged product, right? So like the cost of putting onto a container all of the product and whatnot that you are shipping from China, like that freight cost and the inventory cost and all that kind of stuff would more than outweigh the manufacturing difference in the product itself. And so that was kind of like one of the key insights that I had getting into this business. And I know for a fact that air filters are not the only one that fits that. So like you really have to look at it on a product by product, market by market perspective. Two things that are on my radar that I think, should, like, if you're thinking about manufacturing, you need to think about is one, like tariffs are likely coming into the U.S. that are going to be impactful, and like what exactly that looks like, we don't know yet, but like it's definitely going to change the cost structure for overseas manufacturers that are kind of getting into the U.S. And so that's definitely something that is on my radar. Like in our example, we were already in the process of starting to manufacture air purifier filters and cabin air filters for cars, both of which are largely made overseas currently, like at least from all of the big competitors that I'm aware of. They're basically all made in China or in Asia, more or less. And we had already made the decision to start manufacturing them because, when I look at the actual manufacturing piece of it, is largely automated, and the machines, are not that difficult to operate. And I think that relative, like even if it was cheaper to manufacture marginally overseas, just like in our main air filter business, when you take into account the logistics cost and the inventory cost, it's not as obvious that it would be cheaper to manufacture overseas to me. And so that's part of the reason we got into the market. But a huge tailwind for us is going to be if there are in fact tariffs that start to go into those products, that will make it make us a lot more competitive relative to overseas. But on the flip side, one thing, and I actually did a news spot about this on Sunday, just because I randomly got invited to something I thought was interesting. In the U.S., there's actually a law that anything, or currently a law that, like, if it's under $800, then it's tariff exempt, and oftentimes sales tax doesn't get paid on those transactions. And so there are all these like 3PLs in places like China that are shipping directly into the U.S. At scale, kind of going around those tariffs. And if they don't actually close that loophole, then I think it's going to be hard to kind of compete on a lot of those cheaper items that are traditionally manufactured overseas. But all I can speak to is the air filter market, because it's something that I've studied closely. But I will guarantee you there are a lot of products that, when you take into account the logistics cost and the inventory cost, and what I mean by inventory cost is, like, if you order something in Asia, then you generally have to pay for it before they load it. Then they load it. It may take 2 months for you to get it to your warehouse, and then it's got to get distributed out if you're using a 3PL across all their warehouses. So basically, you have to be paying for that inventory 3 months in advance, and you have to have enough that you're not going to run out. And so there's a lot of capital and cash that gets taken up in that process. And so part of the beauty of our business is, we keep an average of 2 weeks of inventory throughout our system at any given time, which means that our capital cost to do our business at scale is much less than somebody who is trying to do our exact same model by having all of their products manufactured overseas. And so I just know that there would be a lot of products that would have similar dynamics, that, if you wanted to be a little innovative and just creative and, picking apart the actual cost structure of a lot of products that have big demand, that there would be lots of opportunity to manufacture if you just were a little creative and put in some work. So that's a very long-winded answer, I guess, to your question. Michael wants me to see all the names, and the problem is that, honestly, like I'm happy to do it, but I just worry I'm going to butcher it. So please forgive me if I'm saying your name incorrectly. Like it's nothing but love, I promise. Like I just am not good at this. But Sivert Vagil Calverton. I just finished watching your other live stream, and now I got another one. Lucky you. No, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And, if you have questions, don't forget to go on our YouTube community board, so we can kind of hopefully get to the best ones early. So post your questions on the YouTube community board. Central Alabama standouts. Central Alabama, shout out to you. How hard was it making it from a small town like Talladega? I don't know any other way. So I only know my way. I have one experience. So, it's I, have lived a great life, and I'm very fortunate, and I, have great memories growing up in Talladega, especially being close to my, grandparents, and had a great family. I have a great family, and I would be lying if I said it was hard, but I also don't know that it was easy. I'm very curious, and I've been entrepreneurial since I was young, and I don't think it really matters where you're from if you have that kind of mindset. And like now with the internet and this kind of stuff, it's like I'm so fortunate to have come up at a time when the internet was really expanding, because that just opened up the opportunities of the world. And I think now everybody has that. Whereas I think if I was 20 or 30 years older, coming from a place like Talladega would have been a lot harder because I wouldn't have had the exposure and the opportunities that you get by having the internet. But like now, really everybody has access to information and at a scale that could not even fathom even when I was a kid. But like I was really a beneficiary of the rise of the internet. It allowed me to be entrepreneurial from a young age and ultimately build the skills that I was able to use to build the business in the way that I have. And so and I don't think that being from Talladega hurt me in that. And I'm thankful for my time there. So nothing but love for my hometown of Talladega. Sean Zhu, that's an easier name to say, so thank you. Hey, David, how do you stay consistently focused despite the ups and downs that might affect our moods as an entrepreneur? Practice. It doesn't happen overnight, and I have my good days and my bad days like anybody. But I remind myself often that the bad days are not going to last, and the good days also don't last. Like it's like you gotta just have the self-awareness to know that sometimes you're going through tough cycles, and sometimes you're going through cycles where you feel like anything you touch turns to gold. You're gonna have both of them, and neither of them are true, or neither of them are going to last. So you can't get too emotionally invested in it. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's like I talk about building the muscle of being an entrepreneur, and like the more hard stuff that you deal with and then you ultimately overcome, the easier it becomes to deal with harder problems in the future, because you just build the muscle and know that, hey, this sucks, but I'm confident in my ability to go out and make it happen. And so you just got to go out and practice it and start practicing small. And some days you're going to be better off than others, and sometimes you're going to want to give up, but you got to remind yourself, hey, I'm in it to win it. And having a longer term vision, which I also talk about a lot, is super important, because like you got to be really clear on where you're going, because if you're not really clear on where you're going, it's much harder to stay the course on when it gets tough. So, I mean, it always starts with that, but the reality is that, you got to just be prepared that there are going to be days that suck, and you just have to be committed to getting up anyways and doing it even when it's hard. And that's a lifelong commitment. But the more that you practice that and the more that you do it, the stronger that muscle is and the easier it becomes. At least that's my experience. Michael wants me to let you know, I guess, because he wrote this. Good morning. Hit the like button for weekly live streams. So yes, hit the like button if you want more of these, because they're quite time consuming, but I'm committed to doing it if you people find it useful. Ali Chowdhury. Hey, David, owning a 7 to 8 figure business, how many hours on average do you work per week, and how do you manage your work-life balance? Well, I work a lot. And actually, a week from tomorrow, we're going to be posting a POV episode of 7 days in a row of kind of what my life looks like. So you're going to be able to see really the exact answer to that question. I've been filming it myself this week, and actually was supposed to film myself before I went on the live stream to tee it up, and I didn't. You just reminded me, so thanks for the reminder. But I work a lot, and it ebbs and flows. The problem with like putting an hour number on it is that I'm always thinking about the business, or like getting hit up with Slacks and emails and phone calls, like 7 days a week, more or less. I love it. I'm fully committed to it, but it's not it's a 24/7, 365 type of thing. But at the same time, I'm very fortunate that I have a great family, and I that supports me, and I'm very close with. And the reality is that all my energy goes into either my business or my family, and I really don't have time for anything else. I don't have any other hobbies or grand things that I get to do, and I'm okay with that. That's a trade off for me, but basically all my free time I'm spending with my family and my children, and the rest of my time I'm working, and I'm always thinking and strategizing and whatnot. But that's what when you really are committed to something and you really have a bigger purpose and a bigger mission in your life, then it doesn't really feel like work. It's like it's just your calling. It's what you wake up and you do every day. And then for me, this mission really is my calling. And you got to find whatever it is that is worth it for you to put in those work that work. But I mean, it's not like it's a set number of hours that I work in any given week. But I think it's safe to say I work more than most people, but I also enjoy it. So, Sean Sharif. Hello, David. How do you recommend someone to pivot from a career they don't enjoy? I currently work in healthcare and have been debating returning to school for an MBA. Any thoughts on this? Um, take it for what it's worth. Like I don't know you at all, and I certainly don't want to. You have to be self-aware, and I would rely on the people around you to actually help you to if you don't have that self-awareness to help to figure it out. But I'll give you some high-level thoughts, and you can just take them. Take them, for what they're worth. I'm giving them to you for free, so just be careful, because I don't want you to blow up any part of your life for me. My general perception of something like an MBA is that it's only worth it if you're going to go to a super high tier MBA program, and you're going to have like connections that come from that are really going to then carry you forward. Like I've seen some examples say, like if you go to a Stanford MBA program, then your classmates become your network, and all the people that graduated from that program become your network. And that can be hugely powerful. I've seen examples of people that have made hundreds of millions of dollars that, I honestly do not think are the brightest or the best business people, but they've been able to do it because of that connectivity in that network. And that network is such a powerful thing. And so if you're able to tap into that, then I would say it's probably worth it, if it's consistent with what you want out of life. But if you're going to like a medium or low tier MBA, honestly, I think you'd be better off saving your money and going out and either doing something entrepreneurial, if that's what you want to do, or going and working for somebody that is doing something that you're really passionate about, and learning from them, so you can go and then figure out what you want to do next. Like healthcare, there's so much opportunity in healthcare. Like honestly, if I was starting a business today from scratch, I would probably look at something in the healthcare space, just because it's such a big part of the economy, and there's so much opportunity within that. And it's like, if you have any kind of a niche understanding within that world, I would actually go down, like rather than going and getting an MBA, I would personally rather go down a rabbit hole of something that I think there might be an opportunity or an interest, and really explore it in a deep level, and then maybe make a business out of that. I'd much rather, if you're going to spend $100,000 or whatever it costs to get an MBA, take the time to go out and do that. I mean, like that I think would lead to a lot more opportunity. But that's me, and I don't know where you are, and what you're really committed to, and where your skill sets is. Like all of those things matter. But I think I've kind of given you my high level thinking and advice on it. And there is no right or wrong answer, but at least from my perspective, that's kind of the best advice that I would have for somebody in your situation. But I wish you all the best, and I know if you really commit to it, you can over time build whatever it is that you're looking to build. And I would not stay. I personally would not stay in a career I didn't enjoy. Life's too short for that, in my opinion. And so I would definitely pivot to something that you enjoy more, at least, and only you can answer answer that question. But an MBA in and of itself is not going to be the answer to your question, but it could be a path if it makes sense for you. But I think you need to have a little more honesty with yourself about what you actually want in life. And my guess is, just a lot of times, not saying this is for you, but a lot of times people go to school when they're just confused, and like really that's not going to really answer your question. It's just going to delay the inevitable, and probably you're going to have some debt at the end of it. And I just don't think that's a wise choice if that's the situation. So I'll leave it with that. Kuopio Creations. What keeps you going when you have a lot of employees turnover or when a good employee leaves? How do you retain employees and motivate them to stay? Good question. And there's a lot of ways to answer it, and it really, just depends on, type of employees and, like a marketing kind of employee may be very different than a manufacturing employee, which may be very different than a finance type employee. Like there's every piece of the business is different. So there really is no one answer to that. I think if you do have high employee turnover, you need to examine, why that's the case. Like, are you missing something? I think it's important to have a very strong company culture that people understand and can kind of self-select either they are going to be a fit for that culture or not. And I think that the more that you can interview and hire around that, and then like as long as you as a company are living up to your values and to your mission and whatnot, as long as you're consistent with that, then you need to find other employees that are bought into that same vision and mission. And I think that if you're able to do that while also showing them opportunity for growth and aligning them on that mission financially and whatnot, I think that those are all things you can do to hopefully reduce turnover. But my philosophy is generally treat employees the best way you can, be completely upfront and honest about what your missions are as a business and how they're going to be compensated for it and this kind of stuff. These are all things we're kind of working on as we go into our our end of year budgeting. Like we're actually finishing that up this week, and it's important to me that people within the business are kind of aligned with the performance of the business and with the performance of and their individual performance, with their culture fit being a big part and a big driver of that. So that's kind of high level things on that. But like obviously you could talk about employee and hiring practices at a very deep level in lots of different ways. But like it's kind of tricky. Like every business is so different and every department is so different, and that I don't think that there is one universal answer to that question. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to make it super simple, but it's not. David Lieberman, good name, David. Guys, hit the like button. Come on. I'm with you. I'm with you, David. I guess maybe we're just kindred spirits because of our same first name. But I agree. Hit that like button. I guess Michael really wants you to hit the like button, so I would appreciate it. 6 Red Pandas. Hey, love your insights to your business. How did you build a customer base when you did all the marketing yourself? Seems like it would be hard to convert customers from their previous filters. Well, I don't know. I just did it. We built our business off of intent-based marketing. Like for the first decade, basically all of our marketing dollars went to what I call intent-based marketing, which means that if somebody was searching for an air filter or any iteration of an air filter, like 20 by 20 by 1 air filter, 20 by 30 by 1 air filter, whatever size you want, I made sure that we were showing an ad to that person wherever as they are searching, which was primarily on Google or on Amazon. Those are the 2 places that most people are searching for it. There are a lot of direct-to-consumer brands that do it very successfully on Facebook, and we do some Facebook advertising, and we actually intend to do more in a different way. But like for air filters, that's just not a good channel because an air filter is something you're going to buy when you need it, and there's a very short consideration window on an air filter. Whereas, like if you're selling, shoes or something that people actually aspirationally want, then you may get an impulse purchase, or you can show them an ad and then they may see the page and they can't afford it that month, and then you retarget them next month with a Facebook ad, and boom, you get a sale. That's just not really how air filters work. But the reason why I even bring that up is like every single market is different. It's like you need to understand what business you're in, and then reverse engineer what the right marketing strategies or channel is for you to go out and to build that business. And so like every business is different, and there is no one answer. But the advice that I would give if you're kind of in the weeds in this is like look at your product or service or whatever it is you're selling and think, okay, like what is the channel that I believe has the most likelihood of success in that in working, and then go do a deep dive on that channel and do not like look up until you have cracked the code on that channel. And that could be, outside sales. It could be cold calling. It could be LinkedIn marketing. It could be Facebook marketing. It could be, Yelp marketing. Like any of these things are channels that would work for different businesses. So you have to first understand what business you're in. Where are your customers currently? Where are they currently buying? And then figure out the best channel that is also consistent with something that you can take ownership on and go and understand, and figure out how to maximize that channel to its fullest. And once you do that, then you'll ever gain enough insight that you can probably diversify to other channels. So if you're like early on just getting started, that is what I would recommend. But you got to know but you got to do the work. You got to understand what business you're in, like where are your customers, where do people generally search for this? And for every business that's different. I can only speak to mine, but that doesn't mean that like my way is the right way. It's just the right way for my business and for my product, which is a very specific thing. And I think you got to understand that. But you got to go and understand your business and figure out which channel makes the most sense, and then go all in on figuring it out, and then let it compound. That simple or that hard? Great answer. Thank you. I'm happy to help. Hope you can do something with it. That's what I want. Go out and do something with it, and then tell me in a couple of years, and I'll be a happy guy. That's all I ask. Sivert Vagil Calton. Do you do any government contracts? And if so, and if you do, how do you negotiate with the government? I guess it depends on how you define the government. I don't believe we do anything with the federal government, at least at a big scale that I'm aware of. Although it's possible, I don't know everything that we're doing, to be honest with you. We do deal with a lot of like state and local governments or school systems, for instance. And at least in the air filter category, and in every category is probably different. It's generally RFP or bid based. So like we have a team that does that's responsible for bidding bidding RFPs for school systems and whatnot across the country. And our sales team actually helps them to, I guess, know when there is something that's coming up or whatnot. And so, I mean, it's generally a bid process. You have to prove that you can actually deliver on it. And you have to give them pricing so that you're price competitive. And, then they take it, they have criteria that they look at, and then they award it. And so, we do that. It's not a huge portion of our business. I think we could actually do more of it, to be honest with you. But it's not really a negotiation, at least in how we do it. It's more of you're putting out a bid, and then you're either winning it or you're not. So that's really at least how it works in my experience in the air filter market. But every other market, I don't know. But generally, I would bet like that it's always coming up for an RFP. You got to do a proposal, and it doesn't mean just the cheapest price wins. There are like lots of factors that go into it. That there's a lot of nuance to this, but that would be my answer to that. Ian, in your opinion, is location a key factor for a business operating on a B2B model? Ian, you're gonna have to clarify that question in the future. I'm afraid, because every business is different, and B2B means completely different things to everybody. But like in our business, for a physical products business that is logistically challenging, then yes, location matters immensely, because like we can be way more competitive on a delivered price if you are within, say, 100 miles of our distribution center than we can be if you're 3,000 miles away, right? And like shipping is a huge portion of the cost of an air filter. So in our particular business, then yes, location makes a huge difference. But if you're selling like B2B SaaS to customers via email and whatnot, then I think you can do that from Bali or any other place. So it's like, that's it really depends on your business. And so, and every business is different. In our business, yes, location matters, but like to say that location matters for any business operating a B2B model is just not true. So, I don't know. You have to let me know more about your business to know about location. But in physical products, like being able to service your customers and the price at which you're able to get it to them matter. And those are correlated to location. So in that case, then yes, location matters. But Jordan, thinking of quitting my job to go out on my own, any guidance on or I guess how much should I have saved or how much should the MRR be for my business before I quit the 9 to 5? Again, this is a very personal thing and it's different for everybody. And also that depends on like what your home situation is like. Do you have kids? Do you like what kind of responsibilities do you have? Like all of those things matter. And so like only you can be self-aware and know like what's right for you and what's not. I can give you like high level thoughts on it, but like you're going to have to, kind of go out and make those decisions for yourself. Like I can't make them for you, especially from a 2-sentence thing. So just, take the advice for what it's worth. How I think about it is like, you need to have the staying power for 2 years. And I got a lot of heat when I talked about this on a short, I think. And like, that doesn't necessarily mean you need 2 years of savings, but you need to have the ability to not take a meaningful amount out of your business for 2 years, in my opinion. And so maybe that means you're driving Uber at night while you're doing your business. Maybe that means you're doing consulting and something that allows you to build the skills while doing your business. Like one of the things that I would do if I was doing, say, a direct consumer e-commerce business and I needed to be able to pay my bills, I would maybe do consulting on Facebook ads via like an Upwork or for specific companies to pay my bills while I was building out my thing. I early on did a lot of affiliate marketing. I became quite good at it. And that was one of the ways that I funded my business early on is by, kind of creating that income stream that I knew was not going to be sustainable because it took a lot of work and all that kind of stuff for me. But I did that while building my business. So like generally that would be what I would suggest if I were, building something and needed to fund it. But you have to know a lot more. I'd have to know a lot more details to tell you exactly. But like, you need to have the ability and the staying power for 2 years, in my opinion, to be able to determine whether or not you're on the right path with your business idea or not. And the thing that I don't want to see happen is somebody, quit their job, go out on their own. In 6 months, they haven't seen any success, so they give up. If that is what I'm trying to protect against. Like if I say you only need 6 months of savings and then you blow through it in 6 months and you haven't gotten traction on your business yet, and so you give up, I just worry that you're setting yourself up to fail if that is your attitude. So that's why I say it, but it doesn't mean you have to have 2 years of savings. You just have to have a plan for how you're going to be paying your bills, and you're lying to yourself if it's not possible to do that. There are tons of ways you can do it. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but that's how I would handle it, what I would do. Andre R. Jones, love the series. Thanks, Andre. I appreciate it. We're doing it every week and I'm working hard at it. It's way harder than I ever imagined it could be. I got to be honest with you. I think I had no idea how much work YouTube was going to be, but I'm all in on making it big. So I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and tell all your friends about it, because we're going to go big with it. And, I appreciate you being there from the beginning. Joshua Jankowski, how do you deal with problem customers? Well, I actually had this discussion with the guy this week that we're actually doing a video with, a great young entrepreneur that I really enjoyed spending time with. I think you have to be you have to be self-aware. I use that word all the time, but you have to know like when is it really a customer problem and when is it really your problem as a business because you have a system that is broken. Because a lot of times I think business owners have a tendency to blame customers or blame high maintenance customers when really they need to be looking inward and saying, oh, okay, how do we offer a better, more consistent experience? Like we take all customer feedback seriously, and sometimes there's lessons to be learned from the most irate customers that like we probably did make a mistake and they're really mad about it and maybe disproportionately mad about it, but it doesn't change the fact that we made a mistake and should use it as a learning experience to be better in the future. So I think you have to be very aware of like when you have a customer that's truly a problem, and when you have a customer that is bringing something that you don't like to hear, but just in a maybe forceful way. And I think you need to differentiate between the two. In general, in my opinion, the customer is always right at the end of the day, and that like if somebody's truly not happy and I know I can't make you happy, then I'm going to make it right by a refund or whatever it is it takes, and then kind of move on with life, and not put too much thought into it. But I think you got to be willing to listen to feedback, both good and bad, and just know when it's something you should listen to, when something when it's not. And if you're like, hey, like you really know that it's just somebody who is kind of crazy or whatever at the end, then you just listen to it and move on with your life. Like, what else are you going to do? I don't know. Michael Hamilton, what's your best advice for managing cash flow on a small business doing $250,000 a year? Again, like we could probably do a 4-hour video on this subject. So, and it's something like, actually, I do want to talk more about this subject, and I think we will do some kind of more basic videos on it next year. There are lots of ways to think about managing cash flow, and like, I don't know if you're in a physical products business or if you're in a software business, it's so different for all of those businesses. So like there is no universal answer to your question. It really is going to be depending on your situation and your business. The kind of key things that, I would be thinking about is, how are you optimizing your cash flow? And, there are lots of different ways that you're depending on what business you're in, you can do it. But like examples would be like, like if your vendors let you pay with credit cards, there are companies like Parker that allow you to extend, out for 45 days without a fee. There actually is an embedded fee in it, like because they're getting the credit card interchange fee, but it's like, that's a way that you're able to put out your payables for 45 days if you're doing that. So like that would be an example of a tool that you could use. Like thinking about your credit terms with your vendors. Like if you say, hey, we're growing and we want to be a good partner for you, but we need to pay on 60-day credit terms. That's something you can try. And then all of a sudden, rather than paying every 30 days, you're paying on it on 60 days. There are lots of things that you can do, like working with a bank or a lender to do inventory-based financing or equipment-based financing if you're in a physical products business or a manufacturing business. There are lots of tools and there are lots of people that want to lend money against assets, and if you're in that type of business. And I think having a 13-week cash flow model, like I think if you Google it, you can see people talk about it. That where you're really thinking about the cash flow of your business and understanding your cash flows at a deep level. I think at $250,000 a year, you probably can't hire anybody to help you do it. You're going to have to own it yourself, and that may suck, but I think you gotta just dig in and understand like when your money's coming in, when it's going out, and how you're going to optimize it, and then go out and find the tools to do it. And I kind of gave you the highlighted ways, but I think you could go deeper on any of those if they kind of fit the business that you are in.
One more.
So one more, then I actually got to run. I got a meeting with Amazon at noon. So Rocco's modern lifestyle. I like that. I want a modern lifestyle. Hey, David, left my career and bought into a food manufacturing business. We struggle with the shipping catch-22. Better rates to scale, but getting to scale without better rates. Any strategies? That's a good question. I do. I love the idea of a food manufacturing business, by the way, because consumable product, maybe not the highest margin, but it's going to be high repeat and all that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend it. Um, you know, the I wish I had a little bit more information about your business, because this is something I actually do think I could probably help you with. But it's just, there's so much nuance about like where you're shipping to, what size of the products, what are the size of the products you're shipping. Are you talking about LTL, or are you talking about packaging? Like, are you in like a small geographic area, or are you going against nationwide? All of those things, unfortunately, would really, dictate the details of my answer on something like this. But you know just a couple of potential ideas, just spitballing up. If you're talking like small package carrier, there are definitely a lot of services that aggregate to give you the best rates. And I actually don't know them off the top of my head, because we don't use them, but I know that they exist, where like they have the, as a system, the buying power from UPS or FedEx or whatever, to give you pretty good rates. Like, I know Amazon does it. I think they do it through their Vico or something like that platform. But like, making sure that you're optimizing for that would be, if you're pretty small, would be the first one. If you're a bit bigger and you're doing decent package volume, then I would recommend talking. Like, I was actually talking with a guy that did this recently successfully, where worked with a third party kind of negotiator to help them to get their freight contracts in line with what would be with what would be competitive. And like, I think maybe paying somebody like that to help you would be one. Popcorn manufacturing, smaller products, direct to consumer, nationwide. Yeah, so you're light. So you're light, and you're probably bulky. So you have some of the same problems that we do, I would imagine. Um, you know, as annoying as it may be, and I would actually consider using a 3PL to help you, like maybe to get closer to your customers. I don't know like how long your shelf life is. I guess maybe your shelf life keeps you up from it. But like, being geographically distributed, unfortunately, is going to be a big play for you, because the multiple zones are going to crush you. And there's just like, I don't have a cheat code for that. I wish I did for you. Like, I just don't. So the quicker that you're able to open up and get closer to customers, the better off you're going to be. If you can stomach it, like finding a 3PL. And I know there are some that specialize in food. Like, what I would do, and like what we did actually in Filter By, is in the beginning, we actually used Amazon FBA. You could do it through a 3PL or Amazon FBA to get us that nationwide. But then we shipped all of the kind of local stuff that we could ourselves, or like we had both like FBA as well as manufacturer fulfilled, and we would optimize based off of where it was going. Like, if it was in a closer zone, we would ship ourselves, and if it was further, we would use a third party fulfillment, for instance. Being creative and doing that kind of stuff is realistically, I think, one of your best bets. But then, like, if you're really shipping everything direct, then whoever, like, I would go and look at a third party negotiator based off of your volume, see what they can do to help you. Like, they can at least give you guidance on what's possible based off of their what they see from other customers. And I think that might help you to get negotiating power that you wouldn't get already, because they can bring you the information that you need to negotiate, as if you like, so that so that they're feeding it. They're feeding the information you need to get the best price you can. Like, even if you're not really competing it out, even if you're only talking with one person, you at least know what's possible. And most of these freight carriers don't want to lose business, especially now, and would probably play ball to get you there. But that's the best I got, unfortunately. Michael Hamilton, David is such a wealth of knowledge and ideas. This is amazing. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I've got to run, but Michael, my Michael would tell you that hit the like button if you like to see more of it. And if you add questions to the YouTube community board, Michael's going through them all, and we're going to take the best ones that we can. And I'm going to do this every week at 11 o'clock Eastern time on Friday, rain or shine. I'm going to do my best not to miss any, regardless of if it's holiday or not. So, every Friday we're going to do it. I was able to do an hour today. It's just going to depend week to week how long it can go, but I'm going to do my best to answer all your questions. And, also I'd appreciate it if you watch our videos, and if there are things that you are interested in seeing more of, please leave a comment on it. I know it sounds so crazy, but like, we actually do watch all of that, or look at all the comments, and it will impact the type of content we're putting out going forward, because I'm really doing it for you and to share what we're doing. So as Michael says, like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know how he has the like with the dot and then the comment and subscribe lowercase, but it's okay. You can't win them all. Okay. Have a great week, everyone. Have a great weekend. And Gage, Klein, thank you for thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. I'm sure Michael is only giving me the kind ones, so that's okay. I'll appreciate. I really appreciate it. I really do. And we'll see you all next week. So until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.